Yeah, hi guys, welcome to another podcast episode. We started this like a little bit randomly. We will film today one for today and we'll upload another one on Monday probably, but we have to check on time.
But now we have time and we'll start recording. Maybe in the beginning you'll see more episodes more frequently, but we have to settle down then to probably once a week or so. We're still deciding.
We gotta say we are pretty excited to film this podcast. We have to look a little bit in between. But here we are. We
Yeah,
made it to here. Second episode.
yeah.
First one where we're gonna talk about like technology and the goal of this podcast because last one wasn't like very targeted.
It was like an
But
introduction, but this is like
yeah,
the first real one. So here we go.
yeah. We will start talking about DJI Budget Drones, which we both own, different
Yeah.
ones, so we can talk about the different experiences with them. And yeah, let's start with that one.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have the DJI Spark. I bought it in 2018 with the Flymore combo, and it's been a very good drone so far. I'm pretty happy with it. It may not have the best connectivity. We'll talk about that later, but overall was a great starting drone for me. It really got me into
Yes,
the game.
On July I got the DJI Mini 2 Flymore combo, and it's so far in this year one of the best um, purchases I've done. And I'm pretty excited to tell you guys also my experience and the pros and cons of owning this drone
Yeah.
specifically.
I don't know
Do you
if I
want to start
mentioned
like
it.
comparing the specs?
Well, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I also bought the Flymore combo. I think if you
Yes, you
don't
did.
buy the Flymore combo, it's like you're doing something wrong because for the money you're paying
Yes.
extra, you get a lot more very important things. For example, mine came with the controller. The basic version didn't came with the controller, so
Oh,
that was actually very good. It came with one extra battery, the little bag, and the replacement uh, things for the. ¿Cómo se llama la papagayo?
propellers. Propellers.
Exactly, extra propellers. So.
Yeah. Mine came with a little bit more things. It came with two extra batteries, so three in total. The reverse charging battery hub, where you can charge the batteries all at the same time, not at the same time, but like you put them all in there and don't have to change the cables and stuff. And you can also charge your phone or the controller with that, so it's pretty good. You got the drone itself, the propeller, and gimbal guard. So that's like a plastic and silicone stuff. The propeller guard is pretty good to when you have to keep the drone in the bag or put it in because the propellers aren't messing around. You also got the new controller DJI has with it, which they sell with the more expensive drone as well, which
Yeah,
uses
that's great.
yes, which uses OcuSync 2.0. We will talk about that a little bit later. Three of the cables, the battery, the charging brick, which is also pretty good, 18 watts, some spare propellers, and screws and a screwdriver, and that stuff. Yeah, and also a waterproof bag, so
Yeah.
you can put it all in there. Do you want to
Well,
like compare the specs a little bit on that, like a little bit on paper, and then the experiences? Because like sometimes
yeah,
specs
we can
aren't
do that,
that.
but I wanted to mention, like you see, you get much more things in the DJI Mini 2. Well, I also got a charging brick and everything, but in total you get much more and for less money. I bought
Yes.
my drone for 649 euros back in 2018, and you bought it for.
I bought it for I bought it for a little bit less, I think, and the current price on the DJI page is 599 bucks for the Flymer combo or $449 for the normal pack which includes one battery, the drone itself, and the controller. Yeah, so let's compare a little bit the specs on paper, which
well,
are a little bit of a lie sometimes, but they're pretty good to guide
they're
ourselves.
pretty similar drones. Both are principiant drones.
Principiant.
The Spark weighs 300 grams, and as you probably know, the Mini 2 weighs 249. With that
Or
weight,
less.
or less, with that weight, you have some advantages in some countries with the law because you won't need a permission. But for example, here in Germany,
Mostly US and Canada.
yeah,
Mostly
but
US and Canada.
but here in Germany, for example, you need a permission if the drone has a camera.
And a pilot license as well.
Yeah.
And a pilot license.
If the drone has a camera, you will need something, but if it doesn't have a camera and it's under 250 grams, you won't need anything. But let's be honest, you will only fly a drone without a camera for fun, and you can't do anything with it if it doesn't have a camera.
Yes. Yes. One of the advantages of the Mini 2 is that you can fold it, as almost every DJI drone on the market right now. And you can fold it up to the 13.8 centimeters by 8 centimeters by almost 6 centimeters. So it's pretty little. And unfolded, it is almost 16 centimeters by 20 by 5.6 centimeters. So that is a pretty decent size for a drone like this. A drone meant for people who are just learning to fly drones, and it's pretty good for folding it in a diagonal size of 21.3 centimeters as well.
The Spark is 14.3 centimeters by 14.3 centimeters, and the height is 5.5 centimeters. For you Americans, I don't have any idea on how many inches that is, but learn the metric system. So the metric system is better. Get used to it.
It's on the DJI page in centimeters, so
get used
sorry
to
for
it.
you, but this is the .com page.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, the advantage of the Mini 2 is that it can ascend at maximum in sports mode up to 5 meters per second, descend up to 3.5 meters per second, and go up to 16 meters per second. This in sports mode. This is like almost 60 kilometers an hour.
The Spark can only go up to 3 meters per second in sport mode without wind up and the same down. And the maximum speed is 50 kilometers per hour, what's about 13.8 meters per second. That's also not bad.
So the Mini 2 already has an advantage going up and going forward.
Yeah, and the next thing is
margin.
Battery.
Battery life.
That's something I've noticed.
Here is where the Spark dies. All the stats go like specs don't exist here. It's just your experience here.
Talking about that, for 2018, the drones with that size, they had less battery than it, so that's good. But in today's situation, that's very little battery. In paper, it says
how much battery do you actually have?
16 minutes. But being honest, you can only fly like.
Is that hovering? Or flying at some speed?
Flying, but hovering, it's just 15 minutes. It's like strange. You can fly more than hover, but I don't know. But being honest, it's normally like 30 minutes or less, because you always have to start, set everything up, and then come back when you have like 20% maximum, 15. I've only flown it like till 10%, not less. The drone doesn't let me fly more than that.
So on the DJI page, it says that the Mini 2 can fly up to 31 minutes, flying at 4.7 meters per second in windless conditions. But in my experience, I almost always fly it in sports mode because I don't have the time or the patience to wait
The
till the drone
patient,
gets
yeah,
where I
yeah.
want it to. So I normally my flight time is more like 20 minutes, but that is also filming on 2.7K 48 FPS, so that uses a lot of processing power as well.
But it's still an upgrade from 30 minutes, so it's
Yes.
good. And you have 3 batteries, so you're on a good side
Yes.
with them.
But I've pushed the drone sometimes, like landing with 7% battery or something, and I've flown it like for 25 minutes or something. But coming
Nice.
back in normal or cine mode, because
Uh-huh.
if not, it uses too much battery, and the drone and the app gets mad at me and starts beeping all around.
Well, talking about the app, they use different apps. The Spark uses like the DJI Go 4 app. That's the app that use the more professional ones, I would say. The DJI Mavic 2 Pro, the Mavic 1, Mavic Air, all of them. Well, not the newest Mavic
But
Air.
more the
They
older
that
ones.
uses yeah, and the Inspire more professional ones, the ones for like
Yes, the
industrial use.
DJI, the
Yeah.
Mini 2 uses the DJI Fly app, which for Apple is available on the App Store, but for Android you have to download the AP key on the DJI page. So that's not as good because you don't get automatic um, actualizations on the app.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
and
the benefit of this app is that you can use it with the Mini 2, the Mini SE, the Air 2S, the DJI FPV drone, and more of the recent ones.
yeah.
Mostly every
Well,
drone that uses the new controller.
exactly. It's well,
Yes.
and
Talking
for
about the
beginners,
controller,
uh talk you.
talking about the controller, they use very, very, very different controllers.
Yeah, the
Mine
Spark has
uses the
one.
new.
The Spark has one that you fold down from downside, and you clip the phone in it, and you have the antennas, and you have 2 joysticks with a couple of buttons, but you don't have a display like in the Pro version, and you can't take the joysticks off. But in the Mini 2, you
In the
can.
new controller, in the new controller, the Mini 2, you don't have anything that folds downwards. That's a little bit strange. You only have a clamp that extends to hold your mobile phone, which also is the antenna. So you have like one moving part for that. And the sticks are kept in the same controller. So you screw them out and put it in the lower side of the controller, and they get flush there. So it's pretty good, that part. And the transmission um, system, the video transmission system is very different as well. The DJI Mini 2 uses OcuSync 2.0, which up to 10 kilometers of 720p 30 fps quality video.
Well, and the Spark uses Wi-Fi, and I've noticed the difference. From what I've heard from Mati, he can, without any problem, fly like 3 kilometers without any interruption of signal, and I can even fly 200 meters. Well, that's
Yeah, so
partly because
that's one
I'm
of the
in
main
Europe.
reasons.
That's because I'm in Europe, and they use the CE signal. In America, you will use the FCC signal, and that reaches up to 2 kilometers. But the CE signal is just limited to 500 meters, so that's a problem.
Yeah, this one is not limited at all. But you do notice when you are like 3 kilometers away that you do have to point with the controller to where the drone is, which you can see in the app. But you do have to point a little bit to the drone, or if you're in the car, you have to stick the controller out of the window so you don't lose connection. I noticed that flying like 500 meters over the car, and like as the car is made out of metal, you have to stick a little bit of the antennas out and point them up so that you don't lose connection. but that's pretty decent as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another point
Talking
that's probably important are sensors of the drone. They help a lot,
sensors,
but for example, the Mini just has down facing
the Mini
sensors.
2.
The Mini
Mini
2, I
2, you
mean.
mean?
While the Spark has down facing sensors and a 3D sensor type thing in front, so it can feel if objects come right at you or you are gonna crash, and the drone avoids them or stops before you hit those objects. So for beginners, it might
That's
be very
pretty
useful.
good.
Yeah.
Yes. The Mini 2 only has sensing systems downwards, as Martin said, and that's mainly for landing. Or when you are going up a hill that's not very steep, the drone goes up and stays at 1 meter above that. So when you're flying like 16 meters a second on the road, you do have to correct it, but when flying like 10 meters a second over a road that's going up a little bit, the drone maintains 1 meter of space between it and the road.
Well, I have a funny anecdote about the down facing sensor. When you're flying over snow or water, it gets confused. So one time I was flying above snow like less than a meter, and it got so confused that the drone just crashed. It was very strange, but luckily nothing happened to it, but it was very funny.
Yeah. No, like 1 or 2, yeah, 1 week ago, a little bit more, I was in San Pedro de Atacama, that's in the Chilean desert, and there's a bus. It's literally a piece of a bus, like a
Piece
piece
of
of a
junk.
bus because it's not, yeah, and yeah, I tried to fly from the outside in and get out. And then I noticed that I do need sometimes the front-facing sensors because I crashed into a metal thing, and that was mostly because I was looking like visually to the drone and not through my screen. So I crashed it, but nothing happened. Impressively, it was like 10 meters a second or a little bit less, and I crashed into it, but nothing happened. The ND filter got out, and that was it. Literally nothing happened. The propellers worked. I haven't changed them. It's still the originals. So pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about sensors and looking through a screen, a very big difference is the video quality. The video quality on these drones is very different. Although they have the same CMOS
Yeah.
sensor of 12 megapixels, the video quality is one of the biggest selling points of the Mini 2
Yeah.
because it can film up to 4K 30 FPS or 2.7K 60 FPS. Obviously 1080 60 FPS as well. But 4K 30, that's pretty decent.
While the Spark can just film full HD 1080p with 30 FPS. And if, for
Yeah,
example, I
so no
don't
60
down
FPS.
or if I downgrade it to 720, you might think, oh, you might get more FPS, but no, you still have 30. You
But
have
you can
to.
film 720p?
Yeah, I can choose between those two.
Yeah. Bad or very bad?
Ex- but being
Yes.
honest, who has a 4K screen? Most of the people
Nobody.
watch videos on their laptops or even their phones, I would say, and they don't have a 4K display, but it makes a difference editing and zooming in digitally, but naja, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So is the ISO sensitivity, which is pretty bad, I would say. If you're filming on
Well,
low light conditions, not in night. Night you cannot fly, but
I have
when
done
you're
it.
flying like, but I
But
mean to
yeah,
film
you
it at
can't see
night, that's
anything.
impossible.
You would need like the
You can
Loom Cube, you know those lamps? You
yes,
can
these
attach them
lights.
to the drone. Uh, I've tried it, but my drone can't take much weight while flying.
Oh,
But
that's
for
not
example,
good.
I've seen people doing it on YouTube with Mavic Pro. They attach two of these
Yeah,
lights and they can film out of it, and they normally do like light
yeah,
painting with it with long exposures. It's pretty cool.
that's pretty cool, yeah. But going back to the ISO, the max ISO you get on the Mini 2, and I think the Spark as well, is 3200
Yeah,
ISO,
exactly.
and that is very, very
Wait,
grainy
but for video, for photo, you get just to 1600 with my drone.
on the
Uh
Spark.
huh. For
Oh,
video,
on the
3200, and for photo, 1600.
okay, I can for video and photo I can use up to 3200 ISO, but being honest, you will never use it, or 1600, you won't use it. The maximum I have got videos on is at um almost like 800 ISO. But if you get any more, you will get too much. How is about the ISO quality on the Spark, Martin? Because on mine, if you get 1600, it's pretty bad.
I mean, it's grainy, but if you're in low light conditions, it's the only thing that you can get. So you have to live with it.
Yeah. For that, you have to get a little bigger sensor.
For example, the DJI Air 2S, it has a 1 inch sensor and it can film up to 5.4K. And from what I've heard about it,
Yeah.
it's very good drone.
Yes. Another selling point of the Mini 2 is that you can even shoot RAW on the camera to photos, which is pretty good. And you can natively make zoom on in video or photo. In
Oh, that's
2K, in
nice.
4K, you can also you can only do like two zooms, two times zoom, but on Full HD you can do up to four times zoom, and for photo up to 3x zoom.
That's
So that's
nice.
pretty good when you're trying to look at for details. You can do that.
My drone just takes JPEGs. Well, you will have trouble editing that if you want to have the most information to bring every detail out. You can't do that, so you have to live with it. But
Yes.
being real, nowadays you won't find that many Sparks because they aren't longer in production, so maybe you'll find some offers, probably for under $500 or euros or many used ones.
Whatever.
But yeah, being real, honest, I like the drone, but nowadays it makes more sense to go with a Mini 2.
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, I got the Mini 2 in July of this year, and I'm just in love with it. Sometimes I would like a little bit bigger of a drone, better ISO quality,
But
but
it
being
gets
able to,
just more difficult with legal restrictions, and they're
yeah,
getting
but being honest, like
uh,
being able to put it in a bag and don't even feel it, like
that's
my
great.
camera lenses are heavier than all the combo, like.
Yeah, yeah.
But if any one of you is wanting to get this drone, I recommend you to get ND pack filters because on high very bright conditions, it's a little bit difficult to film on it. So
Because you
just get the
want
Skyreach
for
ones.
making cinematic footage, you want to keep the doubles rules. That means that you have to have double the shutter speed of your frame rate, and normally that will be either 60 for 30 FPS or 120 for no
120,
wait
120
for
for
60
60
FPS.
FPS.
Yeah, that's the normal
Yeah,
situations, and with
I got the
very bright
Skyreach ones.
conditions.
It's like the I got the Skyreach ones, which are like the budget ones, but they are pretty good for the price, like $50 or something, and they have done the job like spectacularly. You get up to 64 ND, and I've never used that one. It's like very dark sunglasses for the drone.
Nice. I wanted to
So
buy some for
overall,
my drone. I just haven't done it yet, but there are the same brand you just talked about, and you have the Polar Pros,
Skywing.
and I think they might be pretty good because from what
Yeah.
I've seen on YouTube,
So overall,
all the filmmakers use them.
yeah. Now let me finish this episode, Martin.
Sorry.
Yeah. So overall, both drones are pretty good for the price. But if you're wanting to get more cinematic, get a little bit like 3 kilometers more range, like just saying,
Just saying.
go and get the Mini 2. If you are on a real budget and you will always like fly it at your house and are not planning to fly like very far away or trying to share this on YouTube or stuff, go get this Spark. It's good for the
But
price.
being honest, you can buy the Mini 1. That's not now cheaper than the Mini 2, and it's still better than the Spark. Well,
Or the SE, but you
yeah,
don't get the OcuSync. That's the problem.
but like I said, the Spark is no longer in production, so it will be more difficult to get one. But
You have to
if
get
you,
a used one. That's not
yeah,
good.
but it's a good start to get started in drone photography, cinematography, and it's just very fun. Even if you don't use the footage, it's just very fun flying one of those things. I like it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, we both love our drones. There's some stuff we'd like to have better, but they both are pretty good. Pretty decent footage comes out of it, and you can always share it on social media and stuff, and you won't lose that much of a quality.
Yeah.
So, guys, hope to see ya, or not see ya, but that you listen to us
So
soonly.
hope to talk to you soon. We'll
Yeah.
let this episode till here because we've noticed it's pretty long, and we'll let it just for this drone talk. But we'll upload the next episode very near future, so
Very soonly.
very soonly exactly. So you'll have
So
content from us. You will hear from us.
you'll hear from us. So, bye, guys, and hope to talk to you soonly. Bye bye.
Bye bye.